All right. So as I mentioned, I'm on a mission. I told you guys I was not planned. This is going to be a marathon week where I'm just going to be doing as many lives as possible. I had an opportunity to speak to a mentor, and it was interesting because you never know how other people view you and see you. And we're just talking about, careers. And we're talking about like philosophies in life, how we parent, how we build our families, talking about life insurance, talking about different trust funds and financial tools that are available for all of us to take advantage of. But the good majority of people, they relinquish the ability to self-develop themselves continuously, consistently, and just intentionally, like moving with intention. And he was like, Major, with everything that you've done over the last 6-7 years, being a political figure, being an entrepreneur for 20 plus years, all the relationships you have, the social media you have, all put together. And he asked me a candid question. He was like, how much are you making per month with being a personal brand and public speaking, online classes and things of that nature. And when I told him the number, he was baffled. And I thought it was a cool number, like, doing okay, right? But he was like, man, you should be making at least $1 million a month. Some people, they want to make $1 million a year, right? He was saying, with all the assets and everything I have available, I should be making $1 million a month. And something just went off in my head. And he said, you don't have a product problem or a service problem. You have a positioning problem and a consistency problem. And so my thing is now is being consistent as possible, but also not only being a teacher and a consultant, but also being someone who serves and just professes call to actions. Like, I don't talk about what I have available for people, I guess, enough, right? And so this is my effort, going hardcore with it, getting up at 4:30 every single morning and doing an hour workout, sweating profusely, drinking tons of water, getting hydrated, then grabbing my cup of coffee, getting online, doing some work, getting ready to prepare to release new episodes of the Majorvation Podcast. If you're on YouTube, because I'm streaming on 4 different platforms right now. So if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, go and subscribe to my YouTube, the Majorvation Podcast. And yeah, it's just about talking about everything that I've been doing over the last 2 years, post-election, being a political candidate, now being a public figure, continuous entrepreneur, someone that's in the philanthropic space with my nonprofit Major Kicks for Kids. But like I said, I'm dead focused on reaching these certain goals and letting you guys know it's available, at least because if you've been following me for however amount of time that you've been following me and I've inspired you at whatever capacity, I would hope that when the time came when I offered something beyond the free content and game and just my point of view on things that probably align with yours, I would hope that at some point when I release something like Use Everybody would be something that you would support. So today and every single day, we're creating a marathon challenge. We're working to get towards 100,000 downloads of the Use Everybody book. Currently, we are at 25,000. So when I was talking to my mentor, he broke it down to me with a certain science, right? And it's something that I always talk about as well, but it was good to hear from a different perspective. He was like, you know what, just break it down. If you have to get to 100,000, let's do it in this amount of time. Therefore, you're hitting benchmarks and goals and you don't feel exasperated. You don't feel like, you failed at something. You can check that box off. And so we just did the numbers. I have over 500,000 people throughout all the social media platforms. If I'm looking at Instagram, it's 97,000 people. And I should be able to get 250 downloads a day. But how? Because everyone doesn't see my content. I don't post as much as I probably should. So it's about getting online and engaging and activating the voices that I do have access to. And so if you're someone who supports me, even if you can't download, the digital book or even download the EP album when it comes out July 11th, I would implore you to at least encourage others to support, share the link, repost, and help us get the word out as much as possible, because This framework is it's been a game changer, and it's transformed many people already in a short amount of time, and it's only been downloaded 25,000 times. That's pretty good, even though Majorvation is over 300,000 downloads, but that's been out longer, and obviously I've been talking about that when I go on stages and speak. I talk about the Majorvation book. When I'm off the stages on panels, I'm talking about the Majorvation book. So everyone already knows about that particular brand in regards to that. But to use everybody is a new concept. I've taken a negative connotation and I've repackaged it and I've recategorized it and turned it into a powerful mechanism, and also awareness and understanding that we all use each other at some form and capacity. The thing about it is just to make sure that you're not doing it in a manipulative way or abusing anyone. If it's a mutual benefit, it is advantageous for us to use each other, to be supportive of each other, be a resource and an ally to help us reach and accomplish our goals. And that is what it's about. Even in the first chapter, when I'm talking about influence is everything. Influence truly is. You can influence your kids to do something. You can influence your peer to do something, but it's based upon your skill set on how you influence. One of the things that people enjoy about me when I come and speak at conferences, when I come and speak at corporate headquarters, when I come and speak at group homes for young boys, is that I come action-packed with stories, because it's easy for me to speak because I use a lot of my own life experiences to give examples, to point out, point of views, to give different and just give a contextual feeling to draw everyone in and give them a true connection based upon those actual stories, versus being a speaker that goes up with certain bullet points and things of that nature, which to each his own when it comes to that. But I wanted to make sure that when I spoke on stages, I was able to impact lives, educate people, share some laughs, but also take them, on that emotional roller coaster, that on the end result, they felt inspired and impacted by what was shared, that allowed them to leave that particular room and go and execute some of these simple tasks and formulas that we talked about. And the framework is absolutely amazing with the use everybody. Like literally, I have testimonials from owners of casinos that have reached out to me, and I'm gonna repurpose. I got their permission to repurpose some of the messages that they send me, and these are like top tier executives, and they're already, by the standards on the outside looking into others, they're extremely successful. But the thing that I learned about super successful people is that they pride themselves on having a dual perspective in regards to always being a student, even though they're a leader, right? They're always in the space of being a student, even though they are a leader. Because even they'll tell you there are certain circles that they're in where they're not the head honcho, they're not the smartest or the richest person in the room, and they are always looking to elevate themselves to be in other spaces like that. And that's what I'm always telling people. And so the Use Everybody book is a powerful tool for 2025, given the fact that there's so much that's going on right now. There's so many attacks on just your ambitions and your goals and your ability to profess out in the world in regards to what you want to accomplish. So many people are quick to pounce on you and say that, you can't accomplish that. And we found out that 9 times out of 10, when someone is telling you that you can't do something, they're more so projecting their inabilities on you. It's not that you can't do it, because you can do it. When you're hearing negative information that's been given, especially from a commenter that you don't even know, right? Don't even give those individuals any energy. But when there's people around you or in your circle that you're familiar with and they're telling you that you can't do something, sometimes it's based upon their lack of experience, their lack of wisdom, their lack of understanding, and just their self-doubt within themselves, right? And so they want to transfer that trauma or that self-doubt over to you to deter you, to tell you that you can't do it. So wrapping that up, talking to my mentor, he was like, you should be making XYZ every single month, and this is what you should start doing, and we have this ability to say that we don't have time, right? what am I doing right now? I'm going live on 4 different platforms right now. So I did have time. I restructured my day. As I mentioned a month ago, I was getting up at 4:30 every single morning, right? So I had to go back to that. So today I got up at 4:30. I went into my private gym. I got some amazing work in. I had the music playing. I was sweating, but then I was able to get hydrated, get some coffee, sit up here and start doing some work, and then just plug in. So while I'm about to work, I can be talking to you guys or answering some questions and just sharing with you guys the power of this concept that I've created in the framework that I use when I public speak, and also just give you an opportunity to invest and use everybody, because we all use everybody at the end of the day. And it's available now. Majorwilliams.com is now available. I'm excited about it. It took us a little while to get it up, but we finally got it. What is this? People say they want to co-host. I have no idea how TikTok works. People want to co-host. What does that mean? They want to join the video. Is that what that means? They want to co-host. I didn't know I was hosting anything, but it's all good. Someone said, "How do you get access to the book?" You know what? For some reason, in this comment section, it is saying that, oh, okay, that's the one I need to use then. Yeah, so all you have to do is go to majorwilliams.com and it is there. Shout out to everyone joining live right now. Sending some waves out to you. Feel free to let me know what city and state that you're watching this live from. I would love to just pay you homage and shout you out for giving me a minute or two of your amazing day. Appreciate you. All right, so let's start with chapter 1 and why influence is so important. Influence has always been the unseen driving force of human behavior. But as it reads in the book, in today's world where algorithms, attention, and authority intersect, influence isn't just power, it's currency. If money is what moves markets, then influence is what moves people, and people control the market. Whether you're building a brand, launching a product, launching or leading a team, or preaching a message, you must learn to influence with precision and also with purpose. Influence is no longer reserved for celebrities. I've been telling people this. Influence no longer is reserved for celebrities or the elite. It's democratized, digitized, and more accessible than ever. But that doesn't mean everyone wields it well. This chapter will show you why influence is the core skill behind everything that works in communication, in leadership, in marketing, corporate boards, political committees, modern life, and also this book shows you how to start mastering it yourself today. So it's called The Modern Power in the book, The Dynamics of Influence. And it basically states that we are definitely in a new era of power where traditional gatekeepers, media executives, corporate boards, political committees, they're losing control. And in their place are us, creators, communicators, and charismatic leaders who know how to move audiences online and offline. Influence today is not about control, it is about the connection. What type of connection can we build, and what type of community can we build and inspire consistently over a period of time? It's not about domination, it's about resonance. People don't follow brands or businesses, they follow voices, they follow stories. The reason why I know that's so important is because I remember speaking at a group home, and when I walked in this particular place, it was 13 young men, and all had pretty different but similar backgrounds in regards to having rough upbringings, and they had a hard edge to themselves. And I just remember walking in, looking at everybody in the faces of those young men, and it felt like a mirror. The reason why I felt like a mirror is because mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, I've been those young boys. And so instead of coming in like this know-it-all, successful adults or whatever, right? I just simply started sharing stories in relation to how I understood how they felt, feeling like they were abandoned, being in that particular place. My mom went to prison. I was scattered around many family members, me and my older sister Tina. And I remember that emotion. And so I shared that story with them. And you can just see people, the young boys, just get on the edge of their seat. And then just when it came to the Q&A and just opening up the floor for more dialogue and conversation, it just blossomed into just such a beautiful therapeutic conversation. But as the instructor said, he said he's never seen anyone come, and he's been there 4 years. He's never seen anyone come and connect with those boys in that way. It's because, first of all, you have to be able to read the room, right? That's one mechanism that a lot of people overlook. You have to be able to read the room, and sometimes you have to be able to make adjustments. It's like an improv actor, right? You have to be able to make adjustments on the fly. And I could tell that it was not going to be a warm reception if I came in as this, polished guy and just talking about these bullet points and you should get educated and you should do this. I don't believe that talk would have worked with them. So on the fly, I made that adjustment. I made that, I chose a different direction to go that I felt like would be more acceptable in that particular environment. And it ended up working. It ended up working. And literally we had such a great time. I was supposed to speak for an hour. We ended up talking for 3 hours because the Q&A and the questions and the laughter and just people sharing their stories. There was tears, there was hugs, there were just like certain commitments that were made, certain challenges that were put upon those young men to better themselves and create those micro habits so they can start developing not only micro habits, but take those micro habits into macro habits and start applying them to their life, to what they want to become in this world. And so those type of moments are everything, and that's why influence is so important. Knowing how to leverage and use your influence is another thing. Sometimes you see people with influence, and it's like the old saying when they like, you don't really want to meet your hero. You don't want to meet your idols because sometimes in person, what you see on the screen or in that movie or on the stage, singing that song or whatever, that's not necessarily the same feeling they give from their actual personality, right? So it's different. Some people don't know how to make that transition, or they just drop the ball in the area because there's no true intention. And so I always try to show intention in reading the room, making those necessary adjustments so that whatever my role is there, it's impactful enough to where when I walk away, people feel like they walked away with something, right? They walked away with a certain feeling that was going to push them to become a better version of themselves. And that is what the entire Majorvation brand is about: uplifting, inspiring, and just pushing you to become the best version of yourself. Hell, that is the main reasons why I created the podcast, the Majorvation Podcast. We aim to inspire, to uplift, and just really get people majorvated at the end of the day. That's why I created the theme Majorvators. Like, I'm so intrigued with personal self-development and being able to internalize how to motivate yourself, how to make yourself happy, how to find satisfaction that works best for you in a world that displays what should work for you and why you should be happy. And if you don't have that, because the world shows you that's what happy looks like, then you're not happy. See, I don't agree with that. I reject that. And a lot of times when I'm consulting people on strategy calls, or if I'm just doing a public, a talk somewhere, I'm always making sure that people are in tune with themselves. Because if you allow the world to dictate your emotions and your feelings and what makes you believe that you're successful or not successful by something that's outward, then you're gonna find yourself in a spiral, many times in your life because you're looking to extract something else to make you happy versus utilizing what's in you to make you happy, if that makes sense. So influence is everything. Influence today is not about control, it's about connection. As I mentioned, it's not about domination, it's about resonance. People don't follow brands or businesses, they follow voices and they follow stories. They also follow energy. And in the attention economy, the person who can capture and direct attention holds the key to every door. You know how you go somewhere and you see someone, they start out like this and it just quickly goes down like this, is because they couldn't sustain either that energy or the message or the actual connection. So there's a huge difference when it comes to that. You don't need 1 million followers to have massive influence. I think a lot of people believe that. Even like if you look at like this live, 2, 3, 4 people that's there, if you're in the room by yourself with 2, 3, 4 people, or even up to 10 people, that's still a lot of people at the end of the day. And so you don't need 1 million followers to have massive influence. All you need is clarity, consistency, and a message that moves people. Share your story, be authentic, and be genuine, and just kind of share your real purpose, share your real walk of life, and you'll find out more times than many, a lot of people relate to it because they're going through the same type of scenarios that you're going through. And so that in itself gives you that bond, that gives you that familiarity, that gives you that connection. And if you guys see me looking all over the place, I'm live right now on 4 different platforms, doing this marathon challenge all week long, making sure that each day we get 250 downloads so we can reach our goal of use everybody. Remember, a portion of the proceeds go back to my nonprofit, Major Kicks for Kids, which is a 501c. We give away over 1,000 pair of sneakers every single year to low income and academically excelling youth. Every single year for the last 3 years, 2-3 years, we've been doing a bigger giveaway during the Christmas holiday season, partnering with other great organizations and foundations, and just collaborating with them so we can be the most impactful with our nonprofit and our philanthropic ventures. And so yeah, that's what we're doing. So we're on a marathon right now. I've never done this before, but I was recently pushed. I was recently challenged. I know that the world is digitized. I know that things are changing. I know that just making a post isn't enough. I know that more people need to hear from me. I know that people are wondering, how can they support or have questions, and maybe from my experience, from my wisdom, from the things that I've accomplished, I can inspire and impact more people, but at the same time, build up my Majorvators, build up my community. And so if you're someone who hasn't joined the Majorvation channel on this Instagram, feel free to join. I think it's like 220 people in this particular group. I'm sharing different information, different content that I don't share publicly. And if you want to go deeper, Q&A, personal lives, subscribe to my channel here on Instagram. It's only $4.89 every single month, but you get more deeper insight, more deeper connections, different content, behind the scenes, Q&A, Instagram lives where it's just us and it's not for the actual public, but it's about kingdom building. It's about us building and developing ourselves, mindset and perspective, so we can become the best versions of ourselves. But not only that, our bank accounts reflect that as well. We talk about money. We talk about the biblical principles that are in the Bible that decrees that you are successful and you should live in abundance. All those things, we truly go deeper on that particular side. So if you're someone who wants to explore in that way, feel free to join either the free channel, officially become a Majorvator, or subscribe to the channel as well. I would love to have you, and you'll see the type of content that we share in there. It's extremely more impactful. So can't wait to see you guys over there. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Majorvation Podcast live YouTube channel. Listen, we have so many great episodes that are on the way. I have the episode with Garen Jones where he's dropping so much inspirational jewels. And the great thing about the conversation with me and Garen is because is that it's so much more personal because I've known this guy for a very long time. We were both in the entertainment music industry, and just to see his evolution, he's on the other side saying he's looking at my evolution, but I'm just in awe of his evolution, becoming such a dynamic individual, him and his beautiful family, and all the lives that he's transforming in the way that he's doing it, in the fashion that he's doing it. It's just so inspiring. And so this conversation just really unpacks his story. It unpacks his journey. And I think from hearing his story, which is coming out this week, may come out today, it's going to transform hopefully a lot of lives, right? And just let you know that, it's not over. This guy he was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Like literally, his mind could have went somewhere else and he could have given up on himself. But when you hear his story on how he did not give up on himself, and because he started manifesting certain things and applying certain principles, God favor started to shift the entire universe for him. And when I tell you, it's just such a powerful story. And the reason why I'm so kin to it is because it's something that I've used. I made a post recently talking about I created a bio first of who I was, and then I became what I put in my bio. That's manifestation, that's affirmation. Sometimes people, let's fake it till you make it. But words are powerful. Your imagination and vision, your imagination is powerful and your vision is powerful. But sometimes I laugh because if you believe that it's faking it till you make it, then you should tell people not even to have a vision. You shouldn't even have an imagination. That's how you accomplish the things. You think about it. You see it. It's like you see it so much that like you actually feel it, right? So there is a difference when it comes to faking it till you make it or professing it into the world and demanding it and putting in the work to make sure that you mirror it and match that and get to that level and even far beyond that. And that's what I used to do all the time. My wife would tell you, I have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks talking about how much money I was making. This was 20 something years ago, talking about the things that I'm doing, the places that we're traveling. And I just would always do this, and I was just always a manifester, writing down ideals, writing down goals, and just really wanting to connect myself to those words. And I use those words when I relate back to them and open them up to hold me accountable. If I open up that book and I haven't accomplished what I wrote in that book about myself and I haven't got to that particular level, then it pisses me off. But it's also a reminder for me to get back to work. And that is what the framework of Use Everybody represents. And that is the framework that we implement on strategy calls that I do with clients. We've done over 3,200 strategy calls. Out of 3,200 something strategy calls, everything has been top tier. And people's like, there's no way that it can be top tier in regards to the testimonials and the people that you've transformed and changed, helped them change their mindset and perspective. Here's the reason why my strategy calls are extremely successful, guys. You actually have to get qualified to get on the call with me. Reason being is because if you don't pass the assessment of the questions that I have, and I feel like that you are serious, I'm not going to take your time or your money or allow you to take my time. So there's a difference. I'm not one of those people that just get overly excited about you paying me money, then we get on the phone and we chat. No, there's going to be levels, there's going to be layers put in place so you can get the result that you're looking for. So there's an intake, there's an assessment, then I have to qualify you for the actual call. If you don't get qualified for the call, I immediately refund anything that you've given me because it's out of respect. And I want to keep the brand of what I do in the most positive state, period. Meaning that if I say that I can give you a framework or I have something that I can work with and I know that this would be useful for you and I feel like you're going to execute this over the next 30, 60 to 90 days, then you're someone I want to work with. You're someone who mirrors who I was when I was talking to mentors, when I went to a mastermind 3 years ago, the first one for the first time, and it cost $55,000 and people thought I was crazy, but that $55,000 and the conversations I was attached to, and the relationships and friendships I was able to gain in that room changed my entire life. It wasn't about going there and getting money from anyone. It was about going there and getting a mindset. Guys, what is the system that you use? What did you do when this happened? What did you do to navigate this? How did you stay persistent? How did you build this? What was your mind frame? Where were you at in life? Like, what was your journey? To be able to be in rooms where people are worth hundreds of millions of dollars and just hear those amazing stories and them just give you game and resources. I'm like, this is crazy, because some of the resources are already right in front of us and we don't even see it. You guys saw the most recent testimonial from my good friend Keith Hale. Keith he's successful in real estate. Keith is a successful author. He is successful at public speaking. But when we did our strategy call, I said, Keith, there's so much more that you can be doing, and you're leaving all this on the table. And I laid that entire framework out to him on one phone call, and he'll tell you it blew his mind. The only way that I'm able to think at that elevated level is because I've been exposed to a higher level of productivity, a higher level of thinking, a higher level of service. And that is the key part. When you're thinking in a higher level of service, you look at the same thing that anyone else in a normal day-to-day look at more so as an opportunity versus an obstacle. And that is the biggest shift that you can ever make. And that is why I went viral many years ago, before viral was a real thing, because I understood that it really does come down to perspective. Like, you control how you react to things. And that's why I'm such a rebel when it comes to use everybody, this particular book. Like, I know that people, when they hear the chapter, it's like, oh my gosh, that's mean. I don't want to use anybody. Like, you shouldn't do that. But if you think about it, we all use each other. You just have recategorized it, and you operate on a certain software program system that tells you that that's bad. But we do use each other. Regardless of how you see it, regardless of how you word it, we use each other, and it's not a bad thing. In order to come into this world, we had to use our mother's wound. You use someone, right? In order to get that promotion, or in order to get into that door, you use someone, and you benefited from it. I don't agree with using anyone through manipulation. I don't believe in abusing anyone to use them. But if there's a mutual benefit for the both of us, then everyone wins. And people that are around you, they want to see you successful, so they're going to allow you to utilize their friendship, their contacts, their services, or whatever it may be. That is a form of using everybody. And I want to take a negative connotation, which is use everybody, the wording of it, and turn it into a positive connotation and use it as a framework where we can uplift, inspire, and elevate each other on the path of becoming the best version of ourselves, if that makes sense. That is the whole purpose of Use Everybody. And that's why I'm screaming from the mountaintops to tell everyone to add this to your repertoire. If you're a person who wants to self-develop yourself, if you're a person who believes in getting better every single day, listen, there's a statistic that in America, adults read 0.5 books a year. 0.5 books a year. So that means that a person could read 5 to 6 books on one subject in America and become the authority. Why is that? It's because the average American, average adult, does not read beyond 0.5 books a year. So that means that we have a issue when it comes to personal development. Also, there are different forms of education and self-development, YouTube, digital, I get that as well. But this is a national statistic. So even when people are doing that, it's like fast fashion, right? People are scrolling, so they may think that's self-development or they're learning something new, right? But there's nothing like opening up that book, going through it, have your highlighter, writing your notes, writing in your notebook, and going back to it over and over again. I have read Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill at least 200 times, and I've listened to the audiobook at least 1,000 times. That is how you have to consume things in order to be transformed. When you're reading the Bible, You know how when you read the Bible sometimes, or when you go to church, and it seems like the pastor's talking directly to you. You ain't been to church in I don't know how long, or you haven't read the Bible, but it's just something about that when you go, when we open up, it feel like that passage, that scripture, that section relates directly to what's going on in your life. And that is what personal development is also. When you start reading and unpacking this stuff and rereading it and start applying it from a micro perspective, once you do the micro perspective, you can start doing it at the macro perspective. And the reason why I emphasize the micro perspective is because some people get excited when they see their favorite person speak, or see somebody being successful, and they want to go all in, but they crash and burn because they haven't built up that muscle. It's a muscle to be disciplined. It's a muscle to be consistent. Just like when you're working out and the next day you're sore, it's because you have to tear up those muscles in order for a breakthrough of new muscles to come. So to stay disciplined, it is another muscle. It's not just a word. It's just not just a thing that you do. That is a workout. That is a new habit. That is a new mindset. That is a new perspective. That is a new energy that you have to carry that you're not used to carrying. And I had to understand that. To stay focused and the discipline on whatever it is you're doing, it's like working out. It's a new muscle. So to avoid burnout and you being so hard on yourself, I create frameworks where I give people things to do in a micro perspective so I can ensure they are successful. The more that dopamine of success hits you, then you can apply it to other areas and continue to build on that foundation. But the problem is some people are just ready to go up here all the time, but then they end up being disappointed, right? I don't want you to be disappointed. I want you to have accomplishments. I want you to have solutions. I want you to have the best results possible. That's why a framework is so important in everything that we do. A framework. It's a baseline. It's a foundation. Just like when you're building a house, you want to make sure you have a solid foundation. Why? So the house is sturdy, right? House is sturdy. The best part about this book is that every single chapter, obviously, it's different, but they connect with you in a different way in regards to giving you an understanding of how to navigate the world, how to navigate the inner workings of yourself, how to navigate the inner workings of your family, how to navigate the inner workings of your business or your employer, whatever it is. So even number 2, it's about the human behavior and emotional triggers. We know that there is a lot of emotional triggers out there in the world, right? There are a lot of emotional triggers out there in the world. So in chapter 2, it says, in the battle for attention and action, logic takes a back seat. Emotion drives decisions. People don't buy the best product. They buy the product that makes them feel something. Anyone agree with that? Put your hand up, thumbs up. Whenever you see this, if it's a replay or whatever, still put a thumbs up. But if you're watching this live right now, if you agree with that, put a thumbs up. If you did not hear what I said, I will repeat it. It says people don't buy the best product. They buy the product that makes them feel something. So when you see people get money and they go and do something luxury, it's not really because it's because they're chasing a feeling, right? She got that purse because she's chasing a feeling, right? She bought that car, or he bought that car or that watch because they're chasing an actual feeling. They want to feel something. So people don't buy the best product all the time. They buy the product that makes them feel something. So if you want to become a master of communication, and this is for all my entrepreneurs, this is for all my content creators, this is for all of my business owners. If you want to become a master communicator, you have to start focusing on branding, leadership, and also how you develop personal relationships. And you must understand this simple truth. And this is one of the things, if you had the book, you should highlight it. People are not logical, they are emotional with the capacity to rationalize. I'm going to say it again. People are not logical, They are emotional with the capacity to rationalize. Just think about it. All the time, you see it over and over again. How do I do this? TikTok makes you do like a puzzle to make sure that you're still going live. I think that's such a powerful statement. So if you're even taking notes, right, just write this quote down or put it in the notes in your phone. People are not logical. They are emotional with the capacity to rationalize. This chapter breaks down how human behavior works at its core and how to ethically activate emotional triggers that move people to action. The truth about human decisions. Every day, people make thousands of micro decisions: what to eat, who to listen to, what to click, what to believe, what to buy. These decisions feel logical, but they are deeply emotional, instinctual, and subconscious. You are not persuading the conscious mind. You are activating the emotional brain, the limbic system, where decisions are felt before they are justified. Emotions precede logic. Every smart brand and communicator knows this. The 7 core emotional triggers to master influence. You must learn how to ethically engage these timeless emotional triggers and motivators. Number 1 is fears. Fear of missing out, fear of being left behind, fear of pain. This drives urgency and decision. Number 2 is desire. People want pleasure, beauty, love, wealth, validation. So you have to paint a picture of the desired future and make it feel like it's possible, right? We've seen that in different ads that have been coming across our screens. Number 3 is belonging. We all want to feel seen, understood, and a part of something. Speak to identity, build community. Those are very strong proponents of belonging. Number 4 is status, right? People want to win, to feel admired. People want to rise. And number 5 is certainty. In a world of noise, certainty is literally currency now. So you got to be clear, be confident, and make the next steps super, super, super obvious. And number 6, I would say curiosity. The brain is addicted to closure. Curiosity opens up that loop. So use storytelling, which I talked about earlier. Use questions and teasers to create some kind of tension or just some kind of challenge when you're speaking to either your core audience, if you're speaking to creators or clients, whoever you're working with. Number 7 is relief. When people feel stuck or stressed, they create or they crave escape. So how do you help them solve that problem? Show them how to remove it or offer clarity, peace, or power. How great brands and leaders trigger emotion. Apple uses status and desire. Nike sells identity and power. And church leaders often activate certainty with certainty and also belonging. And political campaigns use fear and hope. All right, so I hope that was helpful for you guys. That is chapter 2 of Use Everybody. As I mentioned, we are on a marathon right now. I know that with all of you guys' support of everything that we're doing, we can reach this goal of getting 250 downloads today. I am streaming right now on 4 different platforms. We have Facebook Live here. We have TikTok Live here. We have YouTube Live here. We have Instagram Live here. So make sure to click and go to majorwilliams.com and get your copy of the Majorvation book, or Use Everybody, which is what we're actively pushing. So I didn't mean to say Majorvation, but the Use Everybody book. And July 11th, tomorrow, the EP album that goes along with it comes out, and it'll be streaming on all social media platforms, all streaming platforms, I should say. And you get a chance to hear some of the work that I produced, wrote, and recorded. So I'm excited about that. Any questions, feel free to let me know. I've been up since 4:30. Got an amazing workout in. The 4:30 Club is back. Majorvation Fitness has been activated once more, getting in the best shape of our lives. About to have some fun here. But yeah, this is me pushing myself even out of my comfort zone, getting more live on these platforms, engaging more. And so even with someone like myself, who people pay to consult them on how to level up in their lives when it comes to being creators, when it comes to business owners, when it comes to being an entrepreneur. I too can still grow and learn in certain areas, because as it was highlighted to me that I'm leaving so much more on the table. And so it's time to start building a different brand of content in addition to everything else I'm doing. Now it's about showing that intention and also that evolution, and allowing you guys to come on board as Majorvators to be a part of this particular community that's meant to uplift and inspire your perspective and your mindset, and also make money. Like, if you're into protecting yourself, providing for yourself and for your family, I'm someone who you want to get behind, because I'm a constant student in the area of how do we get to $100 million, but also how do we empower hundreds, if not thousands, of others to reach that mark as well. So that is my whole formula of my mission that I'm working on. How do I not only become extremely successful and make X amount of dollars and have a certain amount of success and have a certain amount of systems in place, but also how do I guide others in the very same direction if that's their ambition and interest to be able to do that. And so that's fascinating to be able to see someone like myself start at a certain place and then start to see the fruits of that labor and the results from that, from a monetary standpoint, but also from a human connection standpoint. The stories I've shared when I've been on stages, talking in front of thousands of people, but then have an opportunity to get off of that stage and go and engage and do Q&A and talk with people about certain things, and be able to give them nuggets of hope and nuggets of things, not really hope, things that they can apply right now based upon what they have shared with me. I'm prescribing, just like a doctor, a framework. That's why my strategy calls are so successful. They're successful because of two reasons, and I told you that. I don't just take people money and say, let's do a strategy call. Like, you have to qualify for my strategy calls, because I want to put myself in the best position to give you great results that I know that you can accomplish. That's why that 30, 60, 90-day time period is important, and you have to be willing to do that work. So that's why we give you an assessment. Now, if you pay for a strategy call, you got to do this assessment. You got to answer these questions. Based upon how you answer these questions, we're going to say, okay, let's set up the actual call and get going. But if the questions don't match and mirror what we're looking for, then we're going to refund the money back to you, because I don't want to waste your time and I don't want to waste your money at the end of the day. So that's important to me. All right. So go and get Use Everybody. It is available right now on MajorWilliams.com. I greatly appreciate everybody's support who has supported thus far. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And we will continue to do these lives throughout the day. So if you are just coming on right now, God bless you. Have a great day. Stay inspired. Stay Majorvated. Tell someone that you haven't talked. Go reach out to someone that you haven't talked to in a while. Tell them that you're thinking about them and just wish them well, or send them a scripture, or send them a prayer or something like that. That'd be, you just never know how that will come full fold and be so helpful to you in everything that you're doing. MajorWilliams.com, it's live. MajorWilliams.com, it's live. I'm looking like this because I'm live on all different platforms. But thank you guys for tuning in. I'll continue to do this. We'll continue to grow. And if you haven't joined on Instagram, the Majorvator group, go and join it right now. It's free. And if you want to subscribe for deeper content, more behind the scenes, subscribe to the actual channel. It's only $4.89, but invest and Use Everybody right now. It's only $9.89. Go and get that. Let's stay connected, be a part of our universe, be a part of our community, so we can stay inspired, make money together, change our lives, provide for our families, and just live in abundance how God has created this world for us to be able to do that. All right? So have a great day, guys. Talk to you in a bit. Peace. All right, YouTube, talk to you in a bit.